on LeBron, 39-9 in the closeout game, 43 minutes. 18th 30-point game in a series-clinching win. That's one shy of tying Michael Jordan for most all-time. 41st series win, most all-time. He is 10-1. This will be his 12th conference finals. He's 10-1 in conference finals. His only L, 09 against the Magic. And I had a huge contribution in that series in my 6 minutes of action in the second quarter of game 2.
This is going to be the social clip.
Again, how much does LeBron have? He's clearly playing on a bum wheel. How much does he have in this series? Because I think what makes this Lakers team really good isn't just LeBron and AD. It's the guard rotation with Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, Dennis Schroeder. And one thing I would say going into this series, the Lakers, they use Curry's man as a screen defender a ton. And the actual numbers there say it was close to 12 times per game. The Kings use Curry's man as a screener, I think 8 times a game in the first round. So the Lakers, because of their guard rotation, doesn't just have to be LeBron trying to manipulate a switch to then get to a pick and roll. Like, there's options with Reeves and Russell and Schroeder where how much are we going to target Jamal Murray? How much are we going to try to wear him down? If MPJ gets going, how much are we going to then make him work on the defensive end? So again, similar to the Boston-Miami thing with the lineup tinkering, the Lakers have an opportunity at times. And I said this at the beginning of the series versus the Warriors. I said, I think there's going to be a point in time when Dennis Schroeder's in the starting lineup. Sure enough, he was, right? So I think in this series, there's a possibility Schroeder, they go with the 3-guard lineup, right? It gives him another guy that can attack. Schroeder, I don't know how they match up necessarily with Jamal Murray. I don't think it'll be D'Angelo Russell. So if they do start Schroeder, I think it'll be Schroeder. If they do start Jared Vanderbilt, I think it'll be Vanderbilt.
The Lakers' depth has really been impressive. Lonnie Walker, obviously. Reeves, the primary ball handler the other night, 21 points, 7 of 15 shooting, 4 assists. Since he entered the starting lineup, they're 16-6, 17 points per game. He's shooting 43% from 3. My big sort of macro question about this series, and I'm sure we'll get into this more later this week too, is it's best offensive team in the playoffs, Denver, best defensive team in the playoffs, Lakers. AD versus Joker is this is it feels like a real heavyweight fight. I'm really excited to see how this goes. And I know they did it. I wanted to get back to 2020 a little bit to revisit that matchup. But in terms of how both sides approach that, it kind of feels like that's the battle in the series in terms of who's going to move on.
Yeah. I'm gonna go off. We only have so much time on the show. I want to be as sort of concise here as possible because it's a great comment and it's a great conversation starter there. So first of all, Golden State shot 31% for that series when Davis was the primary defender, 22 of 70. But they had a ton of success bringing Davis's guy into the pick and roll. All right, that was the strategy late in that series for 3 games. It was like Steph Curry pick and roll, Steph Curry pick and roll, Steph Curry pick and roll. So how are they going to guard Murray and Jokic in the 2-man action? Lakers ran the second most drop coverage. And the whole strategy, of course, when you do this, is you bring Davis out to play pick and roll, you get him away from the basket where he's so good as an interior defender. Now, I don't necessarily think he has to be up as high, nor will they set the screens as high as the Warriors did for Steph Curry. So how much are you really bringing him away from the basket? How much can they guard that 2-man action, whether it is a dribble handoff or whether it is a pick and roll, with just 2 defenders, right? Because with the Warriors, what was happening is because he was so high up, the screener gets behind. Now you're playing 4-on-3. Can they guard that action 2-on-2? That's going to be a big point. On Davis versus Jokic. Davis was one of 4 players this year to match up against Jokic at least 100 times in the regular season. You go back to the 2020 playoffs, Davis is the primary defender. Jokic was 9 for 17 in that Western Conference Finals. Of course, they had Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. So, again, I think that one-on-one matchup, they're probably not going to double. Does Jokic get Davis in foul trouble? Does Davis do a good job? Like, that's going to be huge, and as well as that 2-man action between Jokic and Murray, how they guard that. Couple things on the Lakers that bodes well. One of the best interior defensive teams in the NBA. They pushed the basketball. LeBron James in the open court. Nuggets are not a good transition defense team. Lakers are a good transition offense team. Nuggets run a ton of dribble handoffs. Lakers have defended the most dribble handoffs of any team in the playoffs so far, and they've allowed the lowest efficiency. So within the half court, there's a strength for the Nuggets. It is combated by a strength for the Lakers. My wild cards in this series, Michael Porter Jr.'s shooting. I thought Bruce Brown throughout these playoffs has been huge for the Nuggets. His bench production. Go to the Lakers, Hachimura's bench production. Lakers guards, their shot creation, their ability to manipulate things in the half court, I think is huge. And then it goes back to what I said about Game 7, Philly-Boston. Whose stars play the best?
Yeah.
Whose stars play the best?
The two stats I wanted to bring up before we go. Denver contested catch and shoot, 3-point percentage in the playoffs, 42.9% right now. We could see that in the last two games. Jokers per 29.04 is currently the current highest per in NBA history. The other thing I was just going to say, looking back on 2020, that Denver starting five was Jeremy Grant, Millsap, Murray, Joker, and Gary Harris with Porter coming off the bench is an obvious upgrade. I mean, this is it's just a much better team.
Well, yes, it's a much better team. And their rotation now in the playoffs, playing Gordon at center and having the luxury of bigger players, Christian Brown, KCP as a wing defender, Bruce Brown, Jeff Green when he's in there, they're a more complete team. And I brought this up earlier in the playoffs. Talk about late game execution. I go back to that 2020. It's a different series. It's a different series if Mason Plumlee doesn't point switch. He gets checked into the game. He point switches with KCP, or not KCP, sorry. He point switches and fucking Anthony Davis gets a wide open three buzzer beater to win a game.
Yep.
It's a different series if that play doesn't happen.
Is that because one or two?
Yeah, it was early in the series, but Denver was winning. I think it was 104, 102 when he hit the he point switch. I don't even know why he was in the game. I don't even know why he was in the game. He had done it in the regular season in the bubble. Kyle Kuzma hit a three. He point switched. Why are you putting him in the game?
It is wild. AD had 33 times in that series. I mean,
it's a monster. Bro.
Yeah,
he's a monster.